Okay, guys, welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tom.
Hey, it's our environment unit, so we're going to be spending a couple of days in a beautiful area of the world. That's Italy, in the region of Tuscany. But sadly, this coastal region we're going to has some problems. So I'm not sure I'd really want to go on vacation to this place that we're going to be talking about for the next 2 days called Rosignano Solve. I hadn't heard of this before. We got this lesson, and it's good to know what's going on in other parts of the world. Had you heard about this, Tom?
Not at all, and I'm not a beach person, so I have no interest in going to this place anyway. But, of course, I recognize that there are lots of people who love going to beaches, and if they choose to go to this place, they might want to be concerned because there might be some environmental pollution going on because of a company that operates there. I guess they're making some kind of a chemical called soda ash. It's important for glass and detergents and industrial products and stuff like that. But it also might cause a lot of pollution, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Right.
So without further delay, let's get into it. Let's listen to the entire contents of today's lesson, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Rosignano Solve, a seaside jewel in Italy, paints a scenic picture. As far as the eye can see, gleaming white sand serves as the canvas, dotted with beachgoers bathing in the sun. Amid shouts of laughter, locals enjoy lively volleyball games while tourists relax, their skin kissed by the gentle Mediterranean sun. However, behind this beauty lies the concerning reality of environmental pollution and health risks. Rosignano Solve's white sand owes its existence to a nearby chemical factory operated by the Belgian multinational enterprise Solvay, after which the town itself is named. The factory manufactures soda ash, a key ingredient in glass, detergents, and various industrial products, and contributes substantially to Solvay's revenue. The Solvay process, in which limestone is broken down with cooling seawater, produces soda ash, but also results in a huge amount of solid waste. Around 250,000 tons of waste material is thrown away annually. This waste, mixed with wastewater and released a mere 200 meters from the beach, creates the uniquely dazzling sand that characterizes the area. The factory's waste, with an alarming mercury accumulation estimated at 500 tons since 1917, has created chaos for the local seabed ecology. Beyond the chemical contamination, the waste also causes physical harm, threatening the existence of the Posidonia oceanica seagrass. The seagrass supports a diverse array of marine organisms by creating organic matter and providing a habitat. However, Solvay's waste blankets the seagrass, depriving this vital component in the Mediterranean food chain of sunlight. Consequently, the once thriving seabed now lies barren, which disturbs the natural balance of the region's marine life.
Okay, guys, let's dive in. We're going to be visiting an area in Italy. Italy, of course, is located in Europe. It's the country that is shaped like a boot that we always describe as being kind of a fun-shaped country. So we're going to be unveiling the pollution behind Italy's scenic coast. Scenic just means really beautiful, kind of like a postcard. Although this particular beach isn't quite as scenic as you'd like. If you unveil something, you reveal it. Something's been hidden or is unknown. And if you unveil it, you're letting people know about it. Maybe you are working on a big painting and you keep it covered so no one can see it until you're finished. And when you finish, you can unveil it for your family and friends to see.
Right, a veil, of course, is a piece of cloth that covers something, usually the bride at a wedding, and then the veil is removed. And here, of course, we're revealing or unveiling the pollution behind this scenic coast in Italy. It's scenic, of course. It's attractive to look at. And we begin by talking about this place called Rosignano Solve. It's a seaside jewel in Italy. It paints a scenic picture. It's not really a jewel like an emerald or a ruby or something like that. It's just something that's valuable, and people consider it quite precious, and they really like to go go there and look at it and have fun there. And, of course, it's quite scenic, so it paints a scenic picture. It's not really an artist, but we're just describing this place as being very scenic.
That reminds me of a recording I did about 10 years ago, and one of the lines said something about Taiwan being the jewel of China. So,
really?
Yeah. So, Taiwan is described as being a jewel because it's beautiful. So, we're looking at a seaside jewel in Italy. So, as far as the eye can see, you are going to be looking at gleaming white sand, and that serves as the canvas. And it's dotted with beachgoers bathing in the sun. Actually, I saw a video about this, and nobody was on the beach. In fact, they actually taped off the beach.
Oh, no.
They don't want people in the water. It's not very safe, to say the least. If something's gleaming, guys, we use this when something's really shining brightly. I remember growing up, we used to, of course, have chores on Saturday, especially. And I would clean the windows until they were gleaming. They were kind of bright and sparkly. So this white sand is described as being gleaming. And if it's a canvas, you're talking about that piece of heavy material, which is also a type of canvas, that painters use to paint on. So not watercolors per se, but the oil painting that is done is usually done on a canvas.
Right, and of course this word gleaming reminds me of the American national anthem. Let's see, what's the line? What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, which means the last light of the day before the sun sets. So here, of course, you can see the white sand gleaming in the sun. It's glowing, it's reflecting a lot of sunlight. And it's dotted with beachgoers bathing in the sun. So we've got beachgoers, people who like going to the beach, and they're bathing in the sun. They're not really in the water. They are just basically there to get suntans. Of course, Italians like that. They like to have nice dark skin, so they look really sexy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Amid shouts of laughter, locals enjoy lively volleyball games while tourists relax, their skin kissed by the gentle Mediterranean sun. So these are some examples of what's going on at this beach. We've got shouts of laughter. Kids having great fun playing in the water, maybe playing frisbee. Some people are enjoying lively volleyball games. Yes, indeed, lots of people like to play beach volleyball at the beach. I've never played it myself.
Oh, really? Oh, it's fun.
I'm not really a big fan of volleyball, but tourists also relax there. They've gone there to have a vacation, and so they relax there in their deck chairs or whatever, and their skin will be kissed by the gentle Mediterranean sun. So, yes, indeed, they're there to get a suntan, so their skin is kissed, which means it's being exposed to the sun, and they're doing that on purpose, okay? They're doing that so that they can feel the heat, and they can also get a suntan.
Oh, yeah. This sounds really fun. Actually, Italy is very popular for a lot of Europeans, especially if you live in England or some of the northern countries where they don't have much sun. I was listening to a British program yesterday, and they were laughing about how they had one day of summer.
Oh, no.
Actually, they have a couple more days than that are warm if you go to England for a while, but you'll see it's not quite as sunny as places like Italy. But when I was in Italy, I was quite hot, so be prepared. Their summers are very sunny, and they're also warm. And that's why people like to get away to the sea, get away to the beach. They want to go swimming and cool off a little bit. So their sun or their skin is kissed by the gentle Mediterranean sun. I wouldn't say it's gentle. I think it can be quite strong. I remember thinking, wow, it's as hot here in the summer as Arizona is in the first part of summer. It's quite strong, but it's beautiful, and that's always a treat. So if you just say your skin's being kissed by something that is not human, you're just saying it's very nice and wonderful. It feels good. And unlike Asians, the people over in Europe actually like tans. And they try to, darken their skin. They think it makes them look healthier and sexier. We're, of course, just the opposite here, which I understand, ladies. So moving on to the next paragraph, it says, Rossignano Solvay's white sand owes its existence to a nearby chemical factory, and that chemical factory is operated by a Belgian company. We'll talk about that in a minute. So if you owe your existence to something, it just means that's the reason why it's there. So why do they have white sand? Because usually the beaches aren't... they don't have white sand in Italy per se. So why is it so white? Well, because of this chemical factory that is located quite near the beach, and that's where their waste goes.
Yes, it's a Belgian multinational enterprise, and it's called Solvay, after which the town itself is named. So this is the first time I've heard of a town being named after a big company. There probably are lots of places like that. But yes, indeed, we've got this wonderful scene of people at the beach. But behind that beauty, we have this possible crisis going on of environmental pollution and health risks. And that could be because of the presence of this chemical factory, which is, of course, operated by this Belgian multinational enterprise. An enterprise, of course, is just a big business, and it's called Solvay, and the town there is named after Solvay, Rosignano Solvay.
Yeah, we use enterprise a lot when a company has different smaller companies. It's not just one big conglomerate. It's got lots of little businesses. So this is a big company, and chemical factories and companies in general make a lot of money. A lot of the things that we use, even the clothes we wear, a lot of them are made out of chemicals. So yeah, this is the reason why they have the white sand there on the beach in Rosignano, Solvay. So we're going to find out what's in this. What is this factory making or getting rid of that's affecting the sand? Well, this factory manufactures something called soda ash. It's a key ingredient if a company is making glassware, detergents, the soaps that we use to, say, wash our dishes with, or even the detergent we use to wash our clothes in. Those are chemicals, of course. And there's also soda ash in various industrial products. And whatever they don't use in the factory gets sent away to the sea that's very close to the factory. So that's where their waste goes. And that's contributing substantially or a lot to Solvay's revenue. They make a lot of money producing different chemical products, and the stuff they don't want is hurting the white sand. Tom, we're going to talk more about this, but let's go ahead and take a break. We'll be right back after we listen to our Chinese teacher.
Hello everyone, 我是派老师。今天讲解的是11月23号 Unit 13 Toxic Sand Day 1。好，这个单元介绍的是美景背后的生态危机。大家看到白色沙滩，应该都会觉得啧啧称奇，会觉得眼前的景象让人心旷神怡。不过，位于意大利托斯卡尼的罗西里安诺索尔维，虽然有白色沙滩，如果了解背后的成因，却会让人难以安心的欣赏美景。好，我们一起来看学习重点吧。请同学先看到第一段的第二个句子。好，我们注意到第一段总共有4个句子，前3个句子都在描述位于意大利的海滨城镇 Rosignano Solvay， 风景如画。到了第4个句子，这里呢，我们可以看得到整篇文章的主旨。这个地中海的城镇有严重的污染问题，对大众健康构成重大风险。我们先看主旨句，从 however 开始 ，behind this beauty 这个部分其实它是倒装句，前面 behind this beauty 是介系词 behind 所引导的片语，它标示的是位置地点，意思是在这美景背后。主词是 the concerning reality of， 表示令人忧心的环境污染还有健康风险。既然是主旨句，就表示接下来文章内容的发展都会围绕着这个句子做说明，让读者了解到底是什么样的环境污染，对于大众又构成什么样的健康风险。我们回过头来看第二个句子 As far as the eye can see 这边，这个句子的结构比较复杂，句子的主词是 gleaming white sand， 动词是 serves。这句话意思是放眼望去，亮晶晶的白沙就是画布，而 dotted 开始 是在修饰前面的 canvas 画布，是关系子句 the canvas 逗点或者 started with 的省略，表示这个地方散布着。好，再来请看第二段，请大家特别注意第一个句子，主要动词片语 owes its existence to， 意思是在解释这些白沙怎么来的。原来是因为附近有一家化学工厂，背后的经营者是比利时一家跨国企业索尔维集团。接着请继续看逗点之后有个关系代名词 which， 代表的就是前面的 Solvay。 因为是专有名词地名，所以关系代名词前面有逗点作为非限定修饰。这个关系子句的意思是这个小镇也用这家企业命名。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. Let's continue with our lesson. Again, we're talking about toxic sand in Italy at this place called Rosignano Solvay. It's a seaside jewel. Lots of people like to go to the beach there, play volleyball, have fun, swim in the water and stuff like that. And of course, this sand there is white, and it owes its existence. It's white because of this nearby chemical factory, which is called Solvay. And, of course, the town is named after that company. And it manufactures soda ash, which, of course, is used in glass detergents and various industrial products. Soda ash, just in case you wanted to know if you're a chemical student, it's anhydrous sodium carbonate. Okay, so figure out how to write that yourself. But in any case here, that's what they manufacture. And, of course, because of the manufacture of that chemical, the town and the company makes a lot of money. And the Solvay process, in which limestone is broken down with cooling seawater, produces soda ash, but also results in a huge amount of solid waste. So we're sort of touching on the manufacturing process here of soda ash. This process involves limestone being broken down with seawater, which cools it. And then after it's cooled, you have soda ash. But in addition to the soda ash, you've got a huge amount of solid waste.
Ooh, the stuff they don't want, they want to get rid of. And instead of getting rid of it responsibly and trying to protect not only the natural environment, but people, because our environment affects our health directly, as we know, they just kind of focus on sending it out to the sea. So it's kind of a mess out there. So the Solvay process, as Tom said, is when they take the limestone and they break it down using cool seawater, and that produces that soda ash. But it also leads to having a lot of solid waste. Waste is the stuff left over after something is produced. That stuff no one wants. So that's the waste. For example, when the garbage truck comes around, a lot of people take the waste from their kitchens so that it can be recycled. You know, parts of the food that you don't want, the stems and the leaves, some of the plants that we eat aren't very edible, so people will have that. That's waste. Now, around 250,000 tons of waste material is thrown away annually. So that happens every single year. That's a lot of waste.
It certainly is, and yes, that unfortunately does happen when things are manufactured. They produce lots of waste products, and something needs to be done with that waste product, or with those waste products, I should say. And yes, you've got that solid waste, and 250,000 tons of waste material is thrown away annually. Of course, they're going to throw it in the ocean. That's the most convenient thing to do. And this waste, mixed with wastewater and released a mere 200 meters from the beach, creates the uniquely dazzling sand that characterizes the area. So I guess that's a good thing about this waste. It makes the sand really dazzling. It makes it gleaming. It makes it really white, so people are very much attracted to it. Moving on now to the next paragraph, it says, the factory's waste, with an alarming mercury accumulation estimated at 500 tons since 1917, has created chaos for the local seabed ecology. So we do have this waste, but it unfortunately has a high content of mercury, which is a kind of metal that can be liquid at room temperature. Mercury can sometimes be in thermometers. And, of course, mercury is not good for the human body.
It's also silver-colored.
Right. It's actually kind of cute, but it is very dangerous, so be careful. If you talk about an accumulation, you just talk about things gathering up in one area, and then you can measure its volume. I remember when I was living in my hometown, of course, we waited for the weather forecast during the winter, and they said, oh, it's going to snow today with an accumulation of 1 to 2 inches. So that just means snow is going to fall, and then after it falls, there's going to be 1 inch or 2 inches on the ground. That would be an accumulation of snow, snow gathering in one particular area.
Yeah, we do hear this word a lot, especially if you're listening to weather reports. They'll tell you the total amount of rain that was accumulated or snow. You can accumulate a lot of junk in your home, I've discovered. I look around my apartment and I think, how did I get all this crap? Things accumulate slowly. You just gather them over time, and then you have something that you need to do something with. Well, this is mercury accumulation, which is very dangerous to our health. In fact, they're always telling us, Tom, if you're going to eat fish, make sure you eat the wild caught. Has less mercury, supposedly, but right now our fish are eating plastic, so I'm not sure fish are healthy anywhere. But yeah, it's bad for people's health, and it can hurt and kill you eventually if you consume enough of it. So this has created chaos for the local seabed ecology. Seabed is just the bottom of the sea, or the bottom of the ocean. We use sea and ocean interchangeably sometimes. So ecology is a word that is a branch of biology that has to deal with the relationships between all the organisms in an area and how they interrelate, and also how they relate to the physical environment as well, how it all just gets along.
Right, so of course it's caused big problems for the local seabed ecology. In other words, for the environment on the ocean floor there.
Yeah.
And we're describing it as a chaotic situation. Chaos is an interesting word because we don't say chaos, like I thought it was read when I was young. It's chaos, actually. A very wild and uncontrolled situation. And beyond the chemical contamination, or in addition to the chemical contamination, the waste also causes physical harm, threatening the existence of the Posidonia oceanica seagrass. Okay, so of course, when we talk about plant names or animal names, we use Latin terms for them. So Posidonia oceanica is the term for this kind of seagrass, which I guess is a kind of seaweed.
Now, this seagrass supports a diverse array or range of marine organisms. That's their home. And it does this by creating organic matter and providing them a habitat. Habitat's just a place for a natural organism or animal to live. So here we've got a marine. Marine, when you see this word, automatically think of the ocean because that's what it means. It's just something that's related to the ocean. Maybe you're studying marine biology, or maybe you are a Marine in military service, so you'll serve in some sort of navy. An organism could be an animal and a plant, and it can be just a one-celled organism, so it's something that's alive.
Exactly. Just a side note here. I think there's a baseball team in Japan called the Marines, but that's another subject. Again, we've got this diverse array of marine organisms. And, of course, the seagrass helps create organic matter and provides a habitat, which is a place for organisms or animals to live. However, Solvay's waste blankets the seagrass. That means it just covers the seagrass, depriving this vital component in the Mediterranean food chain of sunlight. So yes, if something covers that seagrass, the sun can't get to it, it can't grow, and then the organisms that feed on that seagrass will starve to death, and that will affect the whole ecosystem.
That's a mess. So consequently, the once thriving just means growing very well, it's flourishing. That once thriving seabed that was doing so well now lies barren, which disturbs the natural balance of the region's marine life. Yeah, everything's about balance, guys. And I've noticed that once people get involved, we screw things up, always. So we'll see what happens. Because of this factory, it's ultimately hurting the marine life there. Barren is one of our vocabulary words. Barren just means where nothing is growing. We use it to talk about land. If nothing grows there, you could say it's very barren, it's unproductive, it's unfruitful. Or if you're reading a novel especially, it was a word that used to describe women who couldn't have children. They were barren. But that's kind of an old-fashioned term nowadays. Here it just means nothing grows there.
Right, it's kind of a dead beach, basically, so I suppose lots of people would not want to go there. They'll probably go elsewhere. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. Let's now listen to our Chinese teacher.
第二段的第5句让我们知道这一片闪耀的白色沙滩究竟是什么。原来它们是工业生产的废弃物。现在来分析这个句子结构，两个逗点之间是关系子句的省略。Mixed 前面原本应该有 which is， 所以 mixed, released 都是关系子句里面动词的一部分。原本是 this waste, which is mixed with wastewater and released， 而句子的主要动词是 creates， 后面的 characterizes 是用来修饰 sand 的关系子句当中的动词，表示这片特殊闪闪发光的沙子是这个区域的特点。再来，请同学看到第3段。第3段这个部分，第一个句子，请同学看到主要的动词这边 has created chaos。好，这里 chaos 它是不可数名词，这边的意思就是这些工厂的废弃物，这家工厂的废弃物造成混乱。再来，请同学看到第3段，老师想要解释一下，除了化学污染物以外，这些废料还造成了物理性的伤害，威胁到地中海大洋海神草的生存。所以同学看到这边应该要知道这个重点。好，那知道这个重点之后呢，我们来看第3个句子哦。第3个句子这里是什么意思？就是化工厂所排放的废弃物质，它严重威胁地中海大洋海神草的生存，这是延续着前面所说的，进而引发一连串的连锁效应，威胁这个海域的生态健康发展。好，那接着就请同学看到第4句。第4句这里有个动词需要注意，就是 blankets。这边请同学注意，这里不是名词，而是动词，意思是覆盖。再来，请看分词构句的部分，就是这些废弃物怎么样呢？它覆盖了海草以后，好，我们看分词构句的部分说会发生什么事。Depriving this vital component， 好，也就是前面所说的地中海大洋海神草。那 deprive 就是剥夺，会让这个草海神草呢，它没有办法照射到阳光，所以 of 后面 sunlight 就是没有办法得到的东西。再来，请同学看到的是第5个句子，要注意的有2点。第一个是 one thriving， 这个 thriving 意思是表示生意盎然、蓬勃发展。再来呢是后面的 lies barren， 那意思就是这个海床之前生意盎然、蓬勃发展，可现在呢就是没有任何的生机了。这个 barren 是用来修饰前面的这个主词 seabed， 是属于主词补语，它是形容词哦。好，以上就是我们针对这一天课文所做的中文讲解，谢谢大家。
That's it for today, guys. We've got one more day to talk about unveiling this pollution that can be found in what was once a beautiful beach area in Italy. We hope you'll join us then. For English Digest, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom. Goodbye.
Bye.